They're right behind us!
Let me paint you a picture. It's Florida. The sun is just relentless. It's hot, it's heavy, and it's beating down on the asphalt till the air itself starts to shimmer. You're driving home. Your daughter's in the passenger seat, chattering away about cheerleading practice, and it's just a normal day. Then you see it. In the rearview mirror, that hypnotic, pulsing rhythm of red and blue lights. Your heart just seizes up, right? A broken taillight? Was I speeding? The officer comes to your window, asks for your license, and then he says something that makes absolutely no sense. There's a warrant out for your arrest. And right there, in front of your child on the side of a busy road, you feel that cold, heavy click of metal around your wrists. You're put in the back of a patrol car, and you won't see home again for 7 days. Not for a real crime, not for unpaid tickets, no, for brown grass, a dirty mailbox, and a work van parked in your own driveway. This is HOA Case Closed, and tonight we are prying open the file on how a patch of brown grass led a working mom to a cold gray jail cell.
So our story begins in a place called Creekview, down in Riverview, Florida. And, on the surface, it's the suburban dream. We're talking perfectly manicured lawns, identical mailboxes, the whole promise of a quiet, safe life. This is where a homeowner, a working mom we'll call Tasha, was just trying to build a life for her kids. But you have to understand, beneath that pristine surface of Creekview, there are rules, and there are people who are paid to enforce them. Tasha was about to find out that in her neighborhood, the price of imperfection is incredibly steep. She was about to find herself right in their crosshairs, with a giant red target painted squarely on her roof.
And here's something you've really gotta understand. This isn't just a couple of volunteer neighbors making friendly reminders. No, Creekview has a professional property management company and a law firm on retainer. And their rulebook? We're talking 67 pages of covenants, conditions, and restrictions. Neighbors describe the property manager literally cruising slowly down the streets, clipboard in hand, actively hunting for violations. So let's be clear, this isn't a community watch. It's a professional enforcement machine. Let's just walk through this timeline step by step, because this is how a tiny little issue metastasizes into a total catastrophe. It all starts in the summer of 2023 with a single notice about browning grass. A few months later, the list gets longer: a dented garage door, some mildew, a work van. By early 2024, it's not about letters anymore, it's a full-blown civil lawsuit. The HOA's law firm is now involved. Then comes the critical moment, July 2024. A judge issues an ultimatum: comply or face jail. A month later, she misses a follow-up hearing. A warrant is issued. And for 9 months, that warrant just sits there, silent, in the system. A digital time bomb, just waiting to explode during a routine traffic stop nearly 2 years after that first letter was ever sent.
Okay, let's actually read the fine print on this first violation. I want you to hear this. Quote, "The grass in your front yard is browning and not up to community standards. You must bring it up to par." The language itself it's pure subjectivity. I mean, what does up to par even mean during a countywide drought? Who gets to define community standards when other lawns look just as stressed? This isn't a black and white rule like don't park on the sidewalk. No, this is an aesthetic judgment. It's a matter of opinion. And that one opinion, that's the first link in a chain that will eventually lead to a jail cell. So this is the crucial turning point. This order from the court. This is where the whole game changes. This is not a dispute with a neighbor anymore. It's not a tiff with a property manager. This is a command from a judge. Tasha is given 30 days to fix the grass, the mailbox, the garage door, and sell the van she uses for work. And the warning is not a suggestion. It's a direct threat. If you fail, you can be jailed for contempt of court. A giant red stamp of rejected is now hanging over her entire life, and the clock is ticking down. And this is where it all just falls apart. See, on one side, you have Tasha's account. She swears she was never properly notified of that follow-up hearing. She says she called the courthouse, trying to figure out what to do, but just got lost in the bureaucracy. But on the other side, you have the cold, simple, unforgiving reality of the court record. A hearing date was set, the defendant failed to appear. That's it. In the eyes of the law, the reason doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is that she wasn't there. A gavel comes down, and a warrant is born. This right here, this illustrates the massive disconnect perfectly. On the left, you've got the promise you see in every single HOA brochure: a perfect green lawn, a safe neighborhood, property values protected. And on the right, you have the reality of enforcement for Tasha: a cold, gray jail cell. For 7 days, she shared that space with people accused of actual crimes.
She slept under a scratchy wool blanket, just listening to the heavy clang of iron doors echoing down the hall, breathing in that smell of industrial bleach and quiet despair. All of it because her lawn wasn't green enough. The promise of a perfect lawn led directly to a perfect nightmare.
You'd think that 7 days in jail, well, that would have to be the end of it, right? But it wasn't. Not even close. When Tasha was finally released, she walked back into a world where the HOA's law firm was just getting warmed up. The fight wasn't just about compliance anymore. Oh no. Now it was about money, and the threat had escalated from jail time to foreclosure. The grim reaper of debt was officially coming to collect.
$12,000. Just let that number sit there for a second. That is not just a figure on a piece of legal paper. In the real world, $12,000 is a reliable used car to get you to and from work. It's a full year of tuition at a community college. It's the cost of a major medical emergency. And for Tasha, it was the price tag that the HOA's law firm had just placed on her home.
But here's the most revealing part of this whole story. Let's break down where that $12,000 actually came from. Of that total, only about $2,600 was for unpaid dues and other small costs. The rest of it, the massive overwhelming majority of it, over $9,400, was attorney's fees, the fees charged by the HOA's own law firm to sue her, to take her to court, and to file for foreclosure. The original problem was a few $100. The solution they came up with created a debt nearly 40 times larger. This is how the system feeds itself.
You know, when Tasha's story first hit the news, comments just like this one flooded the internet. And this raw, visceral outrage, it tells you something really important. Her case, as extreme as it sounds, it's not some weird anomaly. It's a symptom of a much wider problem. And to prove that, we don't even have to leave her neighborhood. Let's move on to our next case file and see how this exact same pattern repeats itself. Okay, let's open up our second case file from the very same streets of Creekview. This homeowner, who we'll call Lena, wasn't just any resident. She was a former HOA president. She knew the rules, she believed in the system, which honestly makes what happened to her over a simple paint job all the more chilling. Lena's story is a masterclass in what I like to call the moving goalpost. First, she gets a notice to touch up some faded paint, so she does. But the HOA's law firm files a lawsuit anyway, saying it wasn't enough. So, okay, she repaints more of the house and the driveway. The HOA acknowledges the work, but then brings up new, completely unrelated issues. Every single time she thinks she's complied, the target moves. The entire process, it seems like it's designed not for resolution, but for escalation and, let's be honest, for the generation of legal fees. Let's just compare the financial damage here for a second. In Tasha's case, we saw the legal fees spiral to over $9,400. In Lena's case, for a paint job, the fees climbed past $5,100. Look, these aren't just numbers. This is the primary weapon in their enforcement arsenal. The threat isn't just a fine, it's the absolutely crushing weight of the other side's legal bills being transferred onto you. And it's powerful enough to force a homeowner to choose between fighting back and foreclosure.
And this might be the most chilling part of Lena's entire story. Panicked after she started getting foreclosure letters, she emails her property manager, the person who was supposed to manage the community. And the response she gets back, listen to this, quote, "We know nothing about a foreclosure. All communication should go directly to the attorney." It's a total, complete abdication of responsibility. The homeowner is isolated, cut off from the board, cut off from management, and forced into a legal battle all alone against a paid professional. The community has been replaced by a courtroom.
After hearing these stories, it is so easy to feel powerless, just completely hopeless. But you're not. The experiences of Tasha and Lena are absolutely harrowing, but they're also lessons. They provide a blueprint for what to do, and maybe more importantly, what not to do when those violation letters start showing up. So this is your survival guide. Let's call it How to Protect Your Castle. Okay, step 1 is the absolute foundation of your defense, and it is non-negotiable. Document everything. And I mean everything. When you get a notice, save it. When you send a response, send it by certified mail so you have a receipt. Before you fix an issue, take a time-stamped photo. After you fix it, take another one. You need to build a fortress of evidence. Because if this ever ends up in front of a judge, your memory of a phone call is worthless. But a stack of dated photos and certified mail receipts, that is your sword and your shield.
Step 2, and this is the hard lesson from Tasha's 7 days in jail. Never, ever, ever miss a court date. If you get a summons in the mail, that piece of paper becomes the most important thing in your life. An HOA lawsuit is not a friendly negotiation. A judge's order is not a suggestion. It is a command. Ignoring it is like stepping in front of a freight train. It transforms a civil dispute over grass into a criminal charge of contempt. And believe me, that is a path you do not want to walk down. And finally, step 3, organize. Remember the fundamental truth that most HOAs and property managers want you to forget? You and your neighbors are the HOA. You're not just a subject, you are a member. So go to the board meetings, read the minutes, talk to the people on your street. I guarantee you'll find you are not alone in your frustrations. See, a single homeowner is easy to isolate and overwhelm, but a group of organized homeowners, they can recall a board. They can fire a management company. They can change the rules. That is where the real power actually lies. So when it's all said and done, what's the verdict here? The real issue isn't just about brown grass or faded paint. It's about a fundamental, deep-seated power imbalance. It's a system where individual homeowners, often without any legal or financial resources, are pitted against a professional, well-funded enforcement machine that is designed to do only one thing: win. And this right here, this shows the devastating pattern perfectly. It starts with something small, a minor, often subjective violation. That violation gets handed off to the law firm. A lawsuit begins and the meter starts running on those legal fees. Those fees, they quickly snowball, completely dwarfing the original issue. The homeowner is now fighting not over a patch of grass, but over thousands and thousands of dollars in legal debt. And the inevitable outcome is a lien, the threat of foreclosure, or in the most extreme cases we've seen, jail. It's a predictable, repeatable, and very profitable process. So you've heard 2 case files, both from the exact same neighborhood. One that ended with a mother in jail over contempt charges that started with lawn care, another that saw a former board president facing foreclosure over a simple paint job. So my question to you is this: which case shocked you more? Case 1, the jail sentence, or Case 2, the foreclosure threat? Vote down in the comments below. Just type Case 1 or Case 2 and tell us why. And if you have an HOA story you think we need to investigate, let us know. Because these files, they are far from closed.